Alrighty. Hello, everybody. Welcome to all, so far, two of you. We'll wait for maybe a few more people to show up, but this is Lex's Club Goal Milestone live stream. And some of you who'll tune into this will be like, what the heck is this? This is a live stream that I promised to the patrons of my Patreon club once I reached a certain level at that club. So I came here to hang out, and because they did reach the goal. And yeah, it looks like probably some people are going to start piling in now, and they'll be a little bit surprised for a lot of you that I'm even on live at the moment. Because, see, most of my live streams are advertised well in advance on my main channel. They take place on the main. And a good number of people tune in, but this is more of like a hangout, one-on-one in private. So we got Martin Ward, John Smith, and an unidentified user named Seed, and some other people keeping quiet at the moment. So obviously, if you guys have any questions for me, feel free to fire away. We do have a little bit of an agenda today, which is I'm going to tell you guys about the Grow contest that we're going to be having. People who tuned in for this stream will have both a head start and an advantage, and they'll kind of know the rules a little bit before everybody else knows them. So when I set up this chat, I said on the post that I'd be surprised if we get like even 20 or 25 people in the room at most. At the moment, we have 7. So I'm going to call this a start time and get rolling. Oh wow, that's weird. Out of like the handful of people that we have here, 2 are from Illinois. I wonder if that's a coincidence. I don't know. But okay, so since we don't seem to have a big influx of questions as of yet, let's talk about this Grow contest. So some of the people who might watch this live stream might have actually been subscribers of my channel several years ago in like early 2017, when I actually did run a Grow Journal type of contest. And it was a photo contest. People just had to send me a creative picture of their harvest time bud and tag it somehow, and then I picked a winner. Interestingly, you can no longer find the original contest because I chose seeds as my prize, and YouTube didn't much like that. All you can find nowadays is the episode where I announce who the winners were, which was my episode, I think it was the one explaining what Hawaiian hotboxing is all about. So in any case, that one was a little bit more of a casual fly-by-night type of Grow Journal. This year I wanted to do, or not Grow Journal, excuse me, Grow Contest. This year I wanted to make it a little bit more formal. So let me tell you guys about it. It's called Lex's Grow Off International 2020, written like this. I'm just gonna write it right into the chat. There we go. So that is how I wanted to name this contest. And in the past, all the entities that have done growing competitions, there's been a bunch of them. The Cannabis Cup is obviously the best known. Initially, they ran the medical cups that were local to Europe, and then they ran medical cups in other places like the United States. Then they began running recreational cups, and they've even held some international ones, though obviously not this year. They always happen right around 420. So the surprising thing that people find about these grow contests is that there's actually not that many contestants who enter. So what you tend to get is very few entries, and the contestants are very big players. There's often a lot of barriers to entry, particularly to recreational, personal type of growers, because they have to provide physical samples of what they grew. What they grew has to be tested for THC and physically provided. People have to demonstrate that they're licensed for most of these competitions. What else is there? Samples often can't cross borders, so competitions have to be local. And at the end of the day, the scoring is still like really subjective. So I wanted to do something a little bit different. Since we have more and more recreational personal growing, I wanted to do like a grow contest for average Joe legal personal grower and maybe cottage industry grower, and to make it international entry, which means instead of physical samples, it's like sort of a photo slash growing contest. Oh, actually, somebody has a problem here. Outbreak of little orange worms in the first few of my outdoor plants. No, I've never had a problem with those myself. That's definitely an outdoor type of pest, and I'm more of an indoor grower. But there should be a recipe for a non-toxic spray that you can Google in order to keep those off your plants. Okay, so back to the growing contest. So in any case, this is going to be a little bit different from what I've done in the past. There's going to be a sponsor to this one. The sponsor to the grow contest is actually Trim Daddy, who do auto trimmers. So that's going to be in the prize package, and there is going to be a prize package again, except this time instead of seeds, it's going to be all perfectly legal and unregulated grow equipment. Obviously, the winner is also going to get exposure on the main channel when he's announced to be the winner. And there's going to be a panel of judges in this particular contest, so it's not just me judging the thing. We'll talk about judges in a moment. Let's talk about what you need to do to enter as a contestant. So to enter, hello everybody, we have a few more people entering the room. Yeah, we're now at about a dozen people hanging out in here. Anyway, to enter, you either have to have a smaller indoor setup or a small scale outdoor setup where your plants are like not 10, 12-foot giants. And that's it. You can enter 4 to 6 of your best girls into this photo contest. That way, whether your local legal limit is 4 or 6, you're good to enter with everything you have. A few words about your setup with the photos. Sorry, I got lost here. So when you make your contest entry, please provide with your photos just the growing medium and the strain name, and also be aware that if you become a finalist, there's a high chance that your photos will at least be displayed publicly at some point, even if you're not identified, so bear that in mind when taking the photos. So each grower will submit several late flowering photos of their plants. At minimum, entries must have one wide shot of your 4 to 6 plants that you're entering, one close-up shot of your best cola from top to bottom, and there also needs to be at least one tagged photo that's fairly wide angle. Tagged meaning that it has like a handwritten note on it that says, "Hi, Lexus Grow Off 2020," or something similar, so that I can be 100% sure that it is in fact your contest period photos that you're entering, that it's legitimately your grow, that it's not some really old one from a long time ago. And I don't care where you are if you're entering. I'm not checking your license. I'm doing none of that. So aside from the requirement to have a harvest to take photos of during the contest period, there are no geographical restrictions on entry. So a couple other notes on these photos. Plants photographed must be photographed under a good color rendering index, which means no blurple pictures. Aim for true light. Plants are going to be judged by the judges on their overall appearance, colors, apparent health, size of buds, lack of serious nutrient deficiencies, apparent density, cleanliness of your overall setup. We don't need to see like cobwebs and loose electrical wiring everywhere. And there's also going to be some points for the general aesthetic appearance and creativity added to the photo. So kind of think of your entry as trying to enter 4 to 6 models into a centerfold contest. So feel free to get a little bit creative. Okay, so now let's talk about the time frame and how you can submit your entries. So there'll be multiple ways to submit. You can more privately submit by emailing the entry to me via the business inquiries email. That's the Proton Mail one, listed in all of the about sections of the channel. Or you can submit your entries publicly by posting it on Twitter or on Instagram and tagging my accounts on those platforms in the post. It's entirely up to you. If you do it one of those 3 ways, I'll be sure to get all your photos. The contest period is going to be from the first week of August. This is when I'd like to have the episode announcing the contest out, and when I should have the logo for the contest and the prizes in hand and all that type of thing. So first week of August to December 23rd, 2020. That should be plenty of time to get off at least one photographable harvest, even if you start from scratch near the beginning of August. So that's it. That's pretty much the layout of the growing contest the way I perceived it. Let's quickly, feel free to kind of leave your thoughts, guys, on what you thought about some of that. If there's something you think isn't fair or should be done differently, let me know, because nothing is totally set in stone until I launch it. But while you guys are gathering your thoughts on that, and I hope you're also smoking along, most of you, let's talk about the judges. Because if you've ever been to a Cannabis Cup, you know that there is a whole system in every Cannabis Cup on becoming a judge, being... Yeah. Oh, yeah. Like, who's going to sample the goods? Nobody. That's the whole thing. On one hand, this is international. On the other hand, nobody is sampling the goods. This is about appearance, and this is partially a photo contest. This is why this is kind of a relaxed type of casual thing. I would grow indoors with CO2 if I felt that... I had a big enough grow to justify the cost of the CO2. Because all CO2 gives you is it's a little bit of a speed boost. I'd also be more inclined to use CO2 if I was on some kind of time crunch, where I had to get more yield off in a shorter time span. Okay, let's talk judges. So this is how judging is going to work. In the 2017 contest, it was just me. In this one, I will be a judge, but there will also be a panel who selects the finalists. Ricky Spanish has joined the chat. I like that guy's name because I'm a big American Dad fan. In any case, there will be 6 judges plus me. So the judges select the top finalists by ranked choice. In other words, they submit to me the ranked choice, and then I select the winner from the finalists if there's no clear-cut favorite amongst the judges. Though if there is a huge interest in judging, by the way, I might expand that judging panel from 6 to maybe 9 people or 8 people or something like that. If you want to apply to be a judge, this is how you do it. A, you have to be a member of my Patreon club at any tier. This verifies that you're an adult. It gives me your email for communication. It lets you see the Patreon page board where I might post some of the finalist photos. So that's the first thing you gotta be, is you have to be in the Patreon at some level to be a judge. To be a contestant, you can be anybody as long as you're willing to send in your entries. But to be a judge, you got to be in the Patreon club. And you will need to email me your application to be a judge. Depending on what your level is in the club, you'll either have to email the Business Inquiries mailbox, that's the Proton Mail one, or you might have the one-on-one help mailbox. If you have that email, which is a Gmail address, you can send me your judge application into that. In the email, give me a short background of the experience you have and why you think you'd be a good judge. You don't need to be a huge pro or anything, but you do need to know what you're doing. Obviously, there shouldn't be any photoshopping or anything of that kind. Photos must be all natural, and I am actually very, very skilled at spotting photoshopped images and altered images, so just bear that in mind. So at the end of the entries period, which is once again December 23rd, I'm gonna organize all of the entries. I'm gonna distribute them to the judges. The judges will get back to me within a few days with the ranked choice, and then the winner's picked, and that's it. That's the whole contest. Liquor license? No one needs a liquor license for that one. So yeah, guys, that is the contest I'm planning. It's going to launch in about a week or so. Kind of depends when I get the final artwork and the final packaging in and stuff. And then we're going to be off and rolling. So yeah, that's the plan. People are very quiet. They're just kind of watching but not doing a lot of commenting. Okay, so some people think the rules are simple enough and easy enough. I think I mentioned this, but yeah, in your contest entry, there is a wide shot that's gonna tell the judges quite a bit about your entry. But you should mention the strain and the growing medium you're using when you submit your entry. Like if you're posting your photos on Instagram and tagging me, add a little caption saying the medium and the strain. On Twitter, add the medium and the strain, and an email, add it. I mean, we should be able to get this done. Okay, so someone's asking pics of the crop. Basically, this is not a competition for pros. I do not particularly want big entities with hundreds or thousands of plants applying for this one. This is going to be more of a personal growers type of competition. So yeah, but I mean, if you're growing more than 4 or 6 plants, if you're growing 16 or 20, photograph your best 4 to 6. So that's how I do it. That makes sense to me, at least. Okay, so how many entries allowed per person? So as I said, you have to verify your entry when you're sending it in. One of your pictures has to be tagged in a way that proves that it's a 2020 harvest. You should submit only one entry. but you don't have to submit it until the end. So let's say between the beginning of the contest and the beginning of August and the end of it in December, you're expecting 3 harvests. Photograph them as they come, and then right before the deadline, you can send in the one that you think turned out the best. But yeah, you should only be submitting 1 entry per contestant. Just that entry will have a few different photos. And by the way, for those wondering, what is this club? How do I join it? How do I get there? It's in the video description for this live stream. Although I'm guessing pretty much 80% of the people in this room are already in it. So this is more of a note for people who may watch this later down the line. For the logo art, I'm kind of looking at a Cannabis Cup inspired logo art. Like if you Google image search the various posters and logos for the old Cannabis Cups, you'll get an idea of what I'm looking for in a logo. Been watching way too long not to be a Patreon. Hey, join in at the minimal level. Most people really enjoy the medium or the third to smallest level, because that way, if you ever have a growing problem, you just email me and I help you out. And I think people will verify in this feed that I am quick on the responses. In fact, if you ever emailed me for help and I didn't respond to you within like 24 or 36 hours, I either didn't get your email or, well, that's it. The only other alternative is I died. Yeah, and you can, as I said, it doesn't matter if you enter in outdoor plants. So obviously there's no lighting restrictions. There's no space restrictions. Nothing like that. However, I did mention during this that I don't want people submitting giants, outdoor giants, because it's not quite fair. A giant may look impressive if photographed a certain way, but it may in fact be a very sick, badly tended to plant. And it's just kind of a weird, unfair advantage thing if you can submit giants. That's just... somebody missed the parameters of the competition. They are extensive. They are extensive parameters. If you miss them, you can actually rewind in this live stream and go back at the end. But it's pretty straightforward. Submit photos, that kind of thing. Oh, how is everybody today? What have you all been up to? I've been gardening primarily. The cucumbers are coming in now, and the raspberries are coming in. I've had some problems with my cherry trees, though. It's been a little bit of an issue. I live in the Okanagan right now, and I discovered that if you don't spray your cherry trees or take steps to control the pests just take over the whole frickin' cherry tree. Off topic, how did your back garage turn out with the septic and electrical? It worked out okay. It's now a room that I use as a studio slash growing area for seedlings slash a little bit of a guest space. The septic's working, the electrical's working. I have water supply in there. I have hot water supply in there. I put one of those like little 7-gallon hot water heaters in there, so I even have hot water. So yeah, it's working out good. How'd your strawberries come out? They came out really good. They weren't ever bearing strawberries, which was a shame. And yeah, they gave fruit for about 2 months. And I'd say I probably got something like I don't know, maybe 20 pounds of strawberries. It was quite the good amount, but I didn't make jam with them. My folks were in town. I had visitors, and I'm a big strawberry fan. So between me, my wife, and my kid, we ate all of them. Wow, we got some people who can pickles. My wife wants to get into canning a little bit, but she's intimidated by it. But she does want to get into some canning for sure. Let's work on the USMCA, Lex. Probably we should. I wish I could have worked on that trade agreement. Would have worked out a little bit faster and better, in my opinion. Also, something I thought about mentioning. Back when I set up the club goals, like for this club, I set them up with the thought that the club would be like more like a community, but instead it turned into more like a collective of growers that just kind of need my help sometimes. So I'm thinking of redoing some of the club goals a little bit to make them more relevant to what the club is. So I delivered on this goal because it was promised beforehand, but I may redo some of the goals that are coming up to make them a little bit more relevant. Just transplanted. Oh, nice, nice. There's a fellow here who I was having a live chat with a few days ago who had his girls sharing a container. I'm like, no, man, they can't. You got to split them up. And seems that he did it and it worked out well. That's good to hear, man. Always good to know when we're troubleshooting and things are working out. I made a small batch of super soil. I bought a premix concentrate based on one of your super soil recipes, the 100-gallon recipe. The fish smell is strong with me. It's a smelly recipe, man. Don't use that one outside. You're gonna get all sorts of animals. Do you have a doomsday bunker? Want to hear what's funny? The next episode, which comes out on this off-topic channel, which I have already filmed and edited and everything, it's about survivalism. And it actually says that no, like I don't have a doomsday bunker, and actually you don't really need a doomsday bunker. What you really need is enough water supply, some canned food, a sleeping bag, a multi-tool, candles, lighters, a couple other things, and you can outsurvive most people through most disasters with a little toolkit like that. You certainly don't necessarily think you don't necessarily need an actual bunker. Sup. We still have a few people randomly joining because as I said, I didn't advertise this live stream in any way, shape, or form anywhere. So some people are just opening up their YouTube and it's like, Lex is live. How many times per hour does the air in the room have to be fully exhausted? Ideally, you want all of the air in your room, the entire cubic volume of air, exhausted once per minute. But you can get away with once every 2 minutes. I've even seen people get away with less, but the sort of professional standard is 1 per minute. Is it okay to put 2 plants in one 7-gel bed? Bad. I'm guessing they mean bed. No, cannabis plants should not be placed in the same bed when they are in pots or indoors. These are plants that are very water hungry and they do not share well. What do you think Subcool really died? I don't actually know who Subcool is. I have no opinion on that one. Oh man. Oh, here's something interesting. You guys may take an interest in. I have stopped doing my casual work over at the uh, grow facility here in the Okanagan that I was working at. So I am now a free agent yet again. Though I really need a job for like exercise, I'm probably gonna get some kind of like another security or bylaw gig to get me out of the house, because otherwise, yeah. Bed Bath and Beyond stocks. Yeah, man. I'm still down with the Bed Bath and Beyond stock. Although let's see what that symbol is right now. Some people are asking me like off-topic channel questions, and some people are asking me grow questions. It's all good. Yeah, man. Looking at Bed Bath and Beyond stock, it's probably a little late to be buying it if you really wanted to make a good killing, but it's still uh at on like a 5-year chart, it's at like an insane low. So it's still a good buy. Its dividend isn't gonna stay what it is, but it's still gonna be high. I'm still liking Bed Bath and Beyond. How can I determine if my plant is a heavy feeder? Is there signs I can look for while it's growing in a solo cup? The most clear-cut sign is that it's growing a lot faster than all the other seedlings that you planted with it, and that it drinks water really, really fast compared to the others. So let's say at the same time, maybe a couple days post-watering, it has drier soil than its brothers and sisters that are on the same time schedule as it. Any recommendation on how to calibrate a pH pan? I ran out of buffer solution. You can buy buffer solution or a calibration solution yourself. I also find that a lot of the privately owned small grow shops will do that calibration for you if you bring in your pen or your meter or whatever. Uh, when you use organic, do you mix the dust a few weeks before planting? Well, yeah, most people who do a lot of organic additives mix them well before they plant. Oh yeah, I'm super bullish on silver, by the way. I think that silver at the moment, relative to gold, is way underpriced. Like, if you're bullish on gold, then you clearly haven't seen silver, because silver follows gold inevitably sooner or later, and it hasn't quite been catching up to gold. So, well, you are welcome, guys. I'm glad that a lot of you are getting something good out of the show, because that's the idea. Who else? Have I missed any questions up here? No, I don't think so. See, that's the advantage of like a small room. I'm sweating because it's like 30 degrees today. It's more than 30. Is people actually get to have their questions answered. Hi, Lex. Question. Would you say trichomes stop producing and growing once they turn cloudy? They at that point they're fully formed once they turn cloudy. What's happening in them, like once they're formed and they start to cloud up, they're fully formed, but the ratios of the cannabinoids in them is what's changing during that entire cloud to like clear to cloudiness to amber period. So yeah, that's what's really going on with trichomes. So some people try and harvest at a particular trichome state to get a certain cannabinoid mix out of their plants. This is more like a pro level thing. Most of your casual growers just look for the point where like 40 to 50% of the plant is browning, and you have mostly cloudy trichomes, and then they harvest. Should I put bone meal into my tea? Half a cup of alfalfa, half a cup of cal, 3 cups lasting is what I got. Sure, man. Feel free to add bone meal. It's a pretty common thing that people add into their teas. You certainly wouldn't be the first one I've heard of doing that. Sweet. Well, geez, guys, we covered a lot of ground in a short amount of time. What more can we talk about? Is flushing necessary with an organic grow? Supposedly you can make do without flushing in an organic grow. What time is it over here? It's 6:36 p.m. I am on Pacific time. I am in BC. But yeah, I gotta say, most organic growers still do flush a little bit. That seems to be more of a preference than a necessary thing. If you're super, super picky about things like organic and how much you should still flush, you may want to look into bud washing, particularly if you're growing outdoor organic. Should you flush hydroponics growing in water? Yes, you do have to flush hydroponics. The advantage of flushing hydro is that you can do it much faster within just a few days, as opposed to like over a week, which is flushing soil. If you YouTube search flushing plus Lex Blazer, you'll find my episode on that where I go over how long you gotta flush for in various mediums. And yes, flushing is done just with water, plain water. Although for most people that means plain pH corrected water. Any growing apps you prefer over pen and paper? No, I still prefer pen and paper. Call me old school. But that doesn't mean that there aren't good growing apps out there. I've seen them. They're excellent. There's growing apps that allow you to do journal entries, that track your progression, that are linked in with grow room controllers. There's a lot of good stuff out there. I'm just a little bit more old school, I guess. I could not tell you how much bone meal you would need per gallon in transition to flour off the top of my head. You'd have to research that one. Any preferred Canadian seed banks? That's a good question. I like True North. I have always found them to be good and professional, and they have a good selection. I'm not a big fan of Crop King. I'm not a those are probably my two. One that I like in Canada, one that I don't like as much. True North is good, Crop King less so. But you'd be surprised if you actually Google Canadian seed banks. There's quite a few out there. I also, of course, like Mr. Nice and Jordan of the Islands. Jordan of the Islands, I wonder if he's still selling seeds. I haven't bought his seeds in a long time, but he was somebody I really liked. Barney's Farm is good. I just don't believe they're Canadian. But no issue with Barney's Farm. They've won a whole lot of cannabis cups with their genetics. Do you ever go to dispensaries? I have some friends who work in dispensaries, and I go to visit them. I rarely go in as a customer. Frankly, I have like too much weed as is. I don't need to go out and buy more. It's it's a problem unique to me. And actually quite a few growers. Canuck seeds. Yeah, I've heard good things about Canuck seeds. Somebody here in the chat is saying that they've had some good results on some of those. How many hurricanes have you been through? I've never been in like a hurricane heavy area. I lived in Edmonton, which very rarely gets a tornado, but I've never been through a hurricane. I've been through an earthquake, though, as well as several aftershocks. I was maybe 9 years old when a series of hurricanes, sorry, a series of earthquakes hit Israel, where I was living at the time. And that was kind of interesting. I woke up in the morning and I heard like a rumbling that I perceived to be the laundry machine on, and I thought to myself, holy cow, like who's doing laundry at 5 a.m. or whatever this is? And then suddenly the rumbling closed in and it turned into a shaking. So that was kind of a weird thing. Yeah, the weird thing about earthquakes is that you go through one, and then in the following weeks you tend to experience several smaller ones. And those were the only kind of natural disasters I've ever been through. Last Eurobeat song listened to, Disco Fire. Yeah, definitely Disco Fire by, I don't even know who made Disco Fire. Oh, by Neo. He's the Eurobeat artist. I listen to a lot of Eurobeat. It's sort of a lame Japanese-made music genre that's like an electronic dance music. But there's the odd fan out there that I found. Yeah, I wish I had more interesting like natural disaster stories. I've been through a war once. I was living in the Middle East during the Gulf War, which meant that we had to like jump into bomb shelters every night and put on a gas mask. I had like a children's gas mask that was colorful and had its own little ventilator. It was neat. I liked it. Are you not doing alcohol inspecting? I no, I don't do that anymore. I was a liquor and gaming inspector for 8 years, and that was like my stable full time career thing while I was trying to work my way to moving to British Columbia, so that I could get here and just kind of putz around doing YouTube and stocks and random part-time work and stuff. I wasn't a big fan of doing the liquor inspector thing because I think I'm a bit too much of a libertarian to care about all those liquor regulations. What's that gnarly? I'm not sure what gnarly means. Stepmania since '06. You know what? I've played a lot of Dance Dance Revolution. I was kind of a fat kid in high school until I discovered Dance Dance Revolution and lost like 30 pounds almost playing that game. I've never been down to Texas. I never have had the opportunity. I've been to Colorado and California, and I've been to New York because I have some family there, but never been down to Texas. Come back to Texas. That's an old punk song. Never been to Washington, which is kind of strange because I could just drive to Washington State. But most of my life I lived further north and it wasn't like a casual drive. And right now I can't go to Washington State because of COVID. I kind of wanted to visit California this summer again. And yeah, I couldn't do it. It was a bummer. Was a bummer. But that's all right. Oh, I see. It was a reaction to my little story there. Well, guys, I think I covered all my bases here. I looks like we're kind of running out of questions, and I've talked about the contest. I thought you guys would have like a lot more criticism and additions to make to the contest itself. But it looks like we've reached a fairly quick agreement that the rules and setup were reasonable. So I'd certainly recommend anybody who wants to join, please do so. Just do keep in mind, you cannot be both a judge and a contestant. You gotta be one or the other. So if you want to compete, don't apply to judge. Oh, we have one last question before we go here. Should you ever use bottled nutrients and natural soil together? Sure, you can. Depends what the natural soil has in it. If it doesn't come packed with a whole bunch of stuff, you pretty much need to use bottled nutrients with it. Otherwise, your plants will not give you a whole heck of a lot. Unfortunately, there won't be a smoking judge. All visual. But that's how we keep it open internationally, so that's the advantage. Well, guys, thanks for joining for this hangout. Hope you enjoyed it. Hopefully a bunch of you will be in the contest, and I'll be announcing it on the main channel probably about a week from now. And other than that, hope you guys have a good week. See you later. Bye-bye.